Hello fellow cyborgs, and welcome to all of the books on my Physical TBR Part 2. In this video, I'm going to be showing you all of the classic books I have, all of the contemporary fiction books that might be set in historical time periods, but they're not that historical, and also sci-fi and fantasy books. So let's get started, and if you want to buddy read any of these books with me, please let me know in the comments down below. First, to the classics. So by classics, I mean Victorian and ancient Greek. I think that's pretty much the only ones I have. Oh, and like 1800s American. So here we go. This is Hester by Margaret Oliphant. I picked this up because Katie from Books and Things said I needed to read something by Margaret Oliphant. She didn't tell me personally. She told her channel that I needed to read something by Margaret Oliphant, and I found this book, and so I purchased it. I don't remember anything else about it. This is Sylvia's Lovers by Elizabeth Gaskell that I have tried to read 2 or 3 times, and I've never been able to get through it. In fact, there is a bookmark at page 52. Am I ever going to finish Sylvia's Lovers? Only time will tell. And here is a drama in Muslin by George Moore. I think I picked this up because it has to deal with gender, and that's one of my favorite things to read about, especially in Victorian literature. And this might have to do with a set of friends, lady friends, where one of them maybe has more than like a Victorian friendship with her friend, but then also obviously there's a dude in there because heterosexuality rules all in the Victorian era, and that's all I know. And you can't read the backs. They tell you. You can't read it. This is Olive by Dinah Maria Craik, and from what I remember about this, I believe Olive either is born with or develops some sort of spinal injury, which makes her physically different from others. And so this is kind of a Victorian take on a heroine with a visible disability. And that's why I wanted to read this. And that's all I know. And I can't check the back. There's nothing on the back. This is Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl by Harriet Jacobs. This was originally published in 1861. Harriet Jacobs is a person who was enslaved, and this is one of the, if not the first memoir written by a Black American woman. And I heard that this is not too bad, but then I heard other things, like as far as sexual assault is what I'm talking about. So I'm a little bit intimidated by this, and I might pick it up on audio because I think I found a couple audio sources, so we'll just have to see. But it's a cute little book, isn't it? It's a little paperback. All right, and the next 3 books, you're also gonna laugh at me. Don't laugh at me, it's fine. So I have 3 volumes. 3 volumes of ancient Greek plays because it's Libby Stevenson's fault. It's because she told me that I could read the Complete Aeschylus, which is a trilogy of plays, which starts out with, I don't remember. The Oresteia. No, it doesn't start out with that. It starts out with Agamemnon, and it's like the only surviving trilogy of plays from ancient Greece, and I read this like 3 years ago, and I was like, hey, I can read ancient Greek plays, and it wasn't like pulling out teeth. This is something that I want to do. I'm going to make a series about this. I'm going to read all of the ancient Greek plays in the order that Libby Stevenson tells me to. And then what did I do? Well, I purchased the materials I would need for that project, and then what did I do? I decided I was going to start by rereading this trilogy of plays by Aeschylus, and then what did I do? I read the first play last year, and that's it. And so now all of the tabby tabs are plays that I need to read, but I still need to read 2 in here. I need to reread 2 in here. And this is why you don't buy stuff until you're ready. Let's move on to contemporary fiction. And by contemporary fiction, I mean stuff that isn't directly horror, it isn't directly science fiction, it isn't directly fantasy, and it is not historical in the fact that it is not like 1940s or earlier, to the best of my recollection. This is Dead Girls by Abigail Tartland, and I believe she is English. And this is set in like the 1990s England. 2 best friends, one friend goes missing / gets murdered, I don't remember, and the other friend decides that she's going to figure this out. And I've been waiting for my library to get this book, and they never did, and so I decided to buy a copy, and then here we are. This is Cracked Pots by Heather Tucker. This is the sequel to The Clay Girl, which I really enjoyed, even though the entire time I read The Clay Girl, I thought that someone was going to be raped, and I was really nervous, but it never happened, and so I want to reread The Clay Girl so that I can then read Cracked Pots, but I haven't done that yet. The Clay Girl is about a young girl and her sisters growing up in, I want to say 1960s Toronto, I want to say, and they had a really abusive father, and it's just her growing up and finding a new family and being hippy dippy. And then she also has a imaginary friend seahorse named Jasper, I believe. And right when it could get really, really awful bad, not Amanda book, it doesn't. So I'm definitely interested in this, but I need to reread The Clay Girl first to like reinvigorate my interest in this. This is Apple in the Middle by Dawn Quigley. I tried reading this. I got halfway through for Indigithon last year, and I found the narration voice to be irritating and not believably a 16-year-old. And I haven't gotten rid of this, even though I didn't enjoy it, because I can't get it anywhere else. If I want to read it again, I will have to buy it again. I can't get it at my local libraries. There's no audiobook for it. And so I want to give this another try. I just don't know when, and I can't get rid of it until I know when. So this remains on the shelves. I don't know if this is counting toward my physical TBR numbers, though I might have just messed everything up, but that's okay. This is Rain Is Not My Indian Name by Cynthia Leitich-Smith. Could be Leitich. I think it's Leitich. Dang it. So this is about Cassidy, who is going through the death of a friend, I believe, and she gets really into photography, and she ends up some volunteering at a school or something like that. So, I mean, grief is one of my buzzwords. So I am going to read this probably this year, hopefully. It's short, so I should be able to. I should be able to do a lot of things. I could read a 3,000 page book if I put my mind to it. I read more than 3,000 pages a year, but it's just not how things work sometimes. This is one of my newest acquisitions. This is Mama Day by Gloria Naylor. I read The Women of Brewster Street by Gloria Naylor, and I really liked it, but it did have a graphic rape scene that I was not prepared for. Helene from Books by Lainez recommended Gloria Naylor to not me personally, but she did recommend Mama Day to me personally when she heard I was interested in trying Naylor. So I stumbled upon a copy at a used bookstore when I was in Florida visiting Sarai, and I picked it up. I don't know when I'm going to read this. This is, I believe, a loose retelling of Shakespeare's The Tempest, so that's also a fun layer. I'm really interested in this. I just keep forgetting it's on my shelves, actually, and not prioritizing it, so This is Paradise by Toni Morrison. I believe this is a first edition hardcover that Acacia was able to snag and find for me, and she sent it to me for Christmas. I believe Paradise is the third book in like the loose trilogy, which is Beloved, Jazz in Paradise, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong about that, but this is the next Toni Morrison that I will be reading because it's the one I have on my shelves. I have no idea what it's about, haven't even looked into the front flap, but it's Toni Morrison, so I'll be reading it at some point and hopefully not be too terribly traumatized. This is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Barry. This is a 1980s girls field hockey team in Canada who do witchcraft under their new god Amelia Estevez, and they start winning games. I started listening to the audiobook and it was confusing on audio, plus I was listening to it too fast, so I'm going to pick this up whenever I get the hankering for reading about 80s culture and I want some spooky vibes to it as well. Now let's move on to some science fiction books. Oh, libraries. This is The Buried Age, a Star Trek novel by Christopher L. Bennett, and I believe this has to do with Jean-Luc Picard, who is the best captain, the best starship captain. He is doing some archaeological things because that's one of his favorite hobbies, and I don't know anything else. Another Star Trek novel, this is Spock's World by Diane Duane, and this is one of the first expansions on Vulcan culture from the original series. And this is an iconic Star Trek book from what I can tell, and I will be reading it even though I haven't really watched much of the original series. This is Twist of Faith, another Star Trek novel. This is actually a bind-up. This starts out with the first two books of the Avatar duology, and then I don't remember what the other books are, but it is a direct continuation from after the final season of Deep Space Nine. I am currently rewatching all of Deep Space Nine so that I can be fresh and prepared to jump into this and the following books. So I think I'm on season 4 or 5, so I still have a ways to go before I can pick this up. This is Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. This is I think it's post-apocalyptic Australian book, and Coleman identifies as being Aboriginal Australian. I don't know very much more about this. I kind of don't want to know, because the less I know about post-apocalyptic books before I go into it, the better, because we know does not tend to be my favorite. I don't remember why I decided to read this. This is the Binti Trilogy by Nnedi Okorafor. I have read the first book in this. All I have to do is read a short story, and then I can listen to the second and third books on audio. but I haven't done that yet. The flavor of Binti's world is more akin to Star Trek than anything else that I've read. The first book has to do with her leaving her home planet against the wishes of everybody in her life because she wants to go to Starfleet Academy. That's not what it's called. That's what it is. And then bad stuff happens. And I guess the second book continues on from there. She's fine, but like it's bad. But she's fine, but it's bad. This is Lagoon by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a first contact alien story set in Lagos. And I have heard really great things about this. I believe I even read the first chapter and really liked it. Have I picked it up since? No. I should probably read it in the summer. I feel like I've told myself this last summer. Let's see if it happens. Now onto the fantasy. This is The Sisters of Reckoning by Charlotte Nicole Davis. This is the follow-up to The Good Luck Girls, which I quite enjoyed. I didn't love it, but I quite enjoyed it. And so I pre-ordered the sequel, and then I read half of it. And I didn't want to read anymore. So the main crux of this book has to do with revolution and developing a resistance and starting a revolution. And I don't love that storyline. It's not one of my favorites. The other thing is that the characters are kind of split up from the first book, so they're not as prominent as in the first book. They're not the core five. So I have mixed feelings about this. A part of me says, oh, just like get rid of it. But I pre-ordered it, and if I want to read it in the future, then I already have it, so I don't know about this one. I don't know. It's not you. It's me. I just don't like what you're doing. That's the problem. And then the final book. Yes, the final book. This should be number 50. Please don't be counting, is The Deep by River Solomon. I picked this up because I was buying novellas, and this is like novella length, and I decided that I was just in a novella mood. I read 2 of those novellas that I picked up, and one was excellent. One was The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle, and the other one was fine. That was Flowers of the Sea by Zinni Rockland, and it was fine. This one has, you know about this one. This is a really pretty cover though, isn't it? Even though it does not have the merperson on it, it is still a really pretty cover. I really enjoy it. So this is River Solomon's mermaid book and intergenerational trauma book. And I've heard so many excellent things. I'm super intimidated by it, but it's small, and I will, at some point I will. I will do it. And I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I'll get a lot out of it. But it might also be like, let me know your opinion. Okay, so that was it. Those were all of the books on my physical TBR that I have currently. I have another book coming in the mail. Not currently, but I pre-ordered another book. I pre-ordered a 3rd horror book in January that I was going to get to immediately. I just shouldn't do that. Please let me know in the comments down below if you regret any of your pre-orders this year. And also let me know if you want to buddy read any of these books with me. We can figure out a schedule. You are my fellow cyborgs. Let's have some fun. Let's read some books. Let's get some things off of my physical TBR. If it adds to your physical TBR, I'm not responsible. You contacted me. Thank you for watching. And until next time, read some more books off your physical TBR and maybe do not pre-order anymore and continue to be lovely. This is one of Gaskell's more rural, I'm just talking out my butt. In this book, our main character is Sylvia, who is young, and it appears as though she's going to have multiple lovers, and it takes place at like a very like naval, like shipping, sailor heavy community, and she has to decide if she's going to buy a red cloak or a gray cloak. That's what I remember from reading this 2 times. We're trying to read it 2 times. This is Olive by Diana. Bleh. This is Dead Girls by Abigail. This is Cracked